Chosen one, a knock is coming. The surprise at your door will change everything. My child, do not scroll away from this moment, because what I am about to reveal is tied directly to the change you have been crying for in silence. A knock is coming to your door, and it is not ordinary. I have been arranging people, shifting circumstances, and preparing an answer that will break the heaviness that has followed you for so long. The surprise that is approaching your life carries restoration, relief, and a turning point that many never believed you would experience. Stay close to these words, because if you ignore this moment, you may miss the confirmation your spirit has been desperately waiting to receive. Type Amen to affirm. You have spent many nights wondering when things would finally change for you. You kept showing strength in front of others while hiding exhaustion deep inside your heart. I watched every tear you wiped away when nobody noticed your pain. I saw every prayer whispered into the darkness when you thought heaven had gone silent. Now I am telling you clearly that the season of unanswered waiting is beginning to break, and the knock coming to your door will carry evidence that I have never abandoned you. The person or opportunity approaching your life is connected to prayers you prayed months ago. I kept certain doors closed because what I planned for you required preparation, wisdom, and protection from people who would have destroyed your peace. You thought rejection meant abandonment, but I was shielding your future from harm you could not yet recognize. That unexpected arrival will reveal why so many previous disappointments had to happen first. Before this continues, take a moment to like this video as a sign that you are standing in faith, for the breakthrough heaven is preparing for your life. The knock coming to your door is also connected to your spiritual growth. I could not release this blessing while your heart was still chained to fear and insecurity. I needed you to discover that your value did not depend on who accepted you or who walked away from you. Through loneliness, betrayal, and hardship, I was teaching you to hear my voice more clearly than the noise surrounding your life. Now you are entering a season where your discernment will protect you and your obedience will guide you toward peace. Many people around you have underestimated what I placed inside you. They judged your current condition and assumed your future would remain limited forever. They did not understand that I often prepare my chosen ones in hidden places before revealing them openly. The struggles you faced were not proof of failure. They were proof that your life carried a purpose greater than what others could see. Soon, even those who doubted you will witness a transformation they cannot explain. The surprise approaching your door will not only affect your finances or circumstances, it will also heal parts of your heart that have carried pain for years. I know how deeply rejection wounded your confidence. I know how betrayal made you afraid to trust again. I know how disappointment caused you to question whether your prayers still mattered. But I am restoring your hope little by little, and the knock that is coming will remind you that miracles still happen for those who refuse to give up on me. There are people who secretly expected you to collapse under pressure. They watched your struggles and assumed your story would end in defeat. Yet I kept placing strength inside you when you felt too weak to continue. I carried you through storms that should have destroyed your peace completely. Even during moments when you wanted to quit, my hand remained over your life. That is why you are still standing while many obstacles failed to break you. Type 111 if you trust God. I know this message is landing in a real place inside you right now. And I want you to know that someone else is sitting exactly where you were sitting before this video began. Still in the silence, still wondering if heaven hears them, still one word away from choosing to hold on. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, a seed planted here becomes the word that finds them at 2 a.m. when nothing else does. You do not have to say anything. You do not have to explain, just plant. Heaven will do the rest. As you give, bring with you the door you have been knocking on longest, the one that has not opened yet. Place that prayer inside your seed and trust that the God who is moving on your behalf is moving on that door too. My child, the reason this surprise feels impossible is because you have been staring at closed doors for too long. Your mind became accustomed to disappointment, and your expectations slowly grew smaller with every setback. But I am not limited by what seems realistic to human understanding. I can change a situation overnight. I can send help from places you never expected. I can create opportunities that no person has the power to block. When my timing arrives, the knock coming to your door may arrive through a conversation, an unexpected visitor, a phone call, or a sudden invitation. What matters is not the form it takes, but the purpose attached to it. I am sending something that will shift the direction of your life and remind you that my promises are still alive. Do not let fear cause you to reject what I am bringing near. Discern carefully, pray sincerely, and move with wisdom when confirmation reaches your spirit. The answer is connected to the assignment over your life. Some people are called to ordinary paths, but I prepared you for something that requires deeper endurance and stronger faith. The pressure you experienced was shaping your character for the responsibility attached to your future blessing. I was building resilience inside you because the life ahead of you requires courage, wisdom, and spiritual strength. There were moments when you believed nobody understood the battle taking place inside your mind. You smiled in public while fighting silent wars within your heart. You carried responsibilities while secretly feeling emotionally drained. Yet every time you thought you had reached your limit, I sustained you again. That endurance was not coming from your own power alone. It was evidence that my spirit was keeping you alive through seasons designed to mature your faith. The surprise at your door will also expose hidden truth around your life. Certain people who smiled in front of you carried hidden jealousy behind closed doors. Others secretly hoped you would remain stuck because your growth made them uncomfortable. I protected you from traps you never saw forming around you. I blocked connections that would have delayed your destiny. Even painful separations were part of my protection over your future. Do not fear the changes that are beginning to unfold around you. Sometimes I must remove familiar patterns before introducing greater blessings. Comfort can become dangerous when it keeps you trapped in places where you no longer belong. I am leading you away from limitation and toward expansion. That movement may feel uncomfortable at first, but it will eventually reveal the beauty of my plan for your life. Every time you expected good news, something painful happened instead, and slowly your heart learned to protect itself from excitement. But I am calling you out of survival mode. Now I am teaching you to expect goodness again, because what is approaching your life has been sent with divine timing and purpose. There are blessings that only arrive after a season of isolation. Many people complained about being alone, but your loneliness carried hidden preparation. While others were distracted by noise and confusion, I was strengthening your spirit in private. I allowed certain friendships to fade because they could not go where I was taking you. I removed people who constantly drained your peace because your next season requires clarity, confidence, and emotional stability. What felt like abandonment was actually divine separation. The surprise coming toward your door is connected to restoration in areas where you believed nothing could ever improve again. Some wounds inside you became so deep that you stopped praying about them altogether. You convinced yourself that certain dreams were too broken to recover. Yet I never stopped working behind the scenes. Even during your silence, I was arranging moments that would eventually rebuild your confidence and renew your spirit. You are about to witness how quickly I can restore what life tried to destroy. There is a reason your spirit has recently felt restless. You sensed that something was shifting, even though you could not explain it clearly. That feeling was not random anxiety. It was spiritual movement surrounding your future. Your soul recognized that a transition was approaching before your physical eyes could see evidence of it. Pay attention to the stirring inside your heart, because I often prepare my chosen ones internally before external change appears. Type 777, if you trust in Jesus. Many people only notice miracles after they happen, but I begin preparing miracles long before anyone sees visible proof. The door that is about to open for you required conversations, alignments, and decisions that started months ago. While you were crying over delays, I was connecting the right people together. While you thought nothing was changing, I was removing hidden obstacles from your path. Heaven has been active on your behalf this entire time, even when your circumstances appeared frozen. My child, you must not allow fear to sabotage what I am bringing into your life. Sometimes blessings arrive disguised as uncomfortable change. You prayed for transformation, but transformation often begins with disruption. Familiar routines may shift. Certain relationships may suddenly feel distant. Old habits may no longer satisfy your spirit the way they once did. Do not panic when these things happen, because I am creating room for what truly belongs in your future. You have spent too much time doubting your worth because of how others treated you. Some people only valued you when you were useful to them. Some took your loyalty for granted. Those experiences damaged your confidence more deeply. Your value was never determined by the people who failed to appreciate you. Your worth comes from the fact that I created you with intention, purpose, and destiny attached to your life. The knock coming to your door will remind you that your story is not ending in struggle. I know you became tired of surviving one difficult season after another. Every time things started improving, another challenge appeared and tested your strength again. Yet despite every setback, you kept moving forward. That endurance is one of the reasons your breakthrough is now so close. There are hidden rewards attached to remaining faithful during painful seasons. Most people give up when answers do not come quickly enough. They allow bitterness to replace trust and anger to replace faith. But you continued speaking to me even when your heart felt exhausted. You kept believing there was purpose behind your suffering, even while confusion surrounded your life. That faithfulness has reached heaven, and the answers you have been waiting for are beginning to move toward you now. Some of the people who hurt you expected your spirit to become cold forever. They assumed heartbreak would permanently destroy your ability to trust and love again. Yet I protected the softness of your heart, even through disappointment. I refused to let darkness fully consume the kindness I placed inside you. That gentle spirit within you is not weakness. It is evidence that my presence has remained alive in your life, despite everything you endured. Share in the comments what blessing you have been standing in faith for. Let your declaration be heard today. The surprise at your door is also connected to your calling. You were never created to live a small and fearful life. There is influence inside you that has not fully awakened yet. There are gifts within you that pain tried to silence. The enemy wanted discouragement to keep you hidden, because your future carries the power to inspire and strengthen other people. But I did not preserve your life this long for you to remain trapped in fear forever. I know there were moments when you questioned whether your prayers were reaching me at all. You prayed for signs and received silence. You prayed for comfort and still cried yourself to sleep some nights. You prayed for change and watched time continue moving without visible answers. But silence never meant absence. I was still near you even when heaven felt quiet. Some answers required patience, because rushing them would have damaged your future instead of blessing it. The knock that is coming will carry confirmation that my timing is greater than human understanding. Certain opportunities had to wait until your spirit became mature enough to handle them wisely. Certain relationships had to end because they were connected to distraction rather than destiny. Certain disappointments had to happen because they redirected you away from paths that would have harmed your peace later. One day you will look back and realize that what felt painful was actually protection. My child, there are still people secretly praying against your progress. Not everyone around you celebrates your growth sincerely. Some smile in your presence while quietly hoping your breakthrough never arrives. But no amount of jealousy can cancel what I have already decided concerning your life. When I open a door, human opinion loses its power. When I release favor over your future, Opposition cannot permanently stop what I have ordained. You must also understand that the blessing approaching your life is not meant to make you arrogant. I am elevating you so you can become a light for others still trapped in darkness. Your testimony will remind broken people that restoration is possible. Your healing will encourage those who feel forgotten. Your future peace will prove that difficult seasons do not last forever. I will use your story to bring hope into places filled with despair. Before we continue, I want to speak to something Jesus said that most people hear but few fully trust. He said, "Give, and it shall be given unto you good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give into your bosom." That promise was not spoken for another season. It is alive right now. But because generosity is a form of faith, when you release what is in your hand, you are declaring that you trust what is coming more than you fear what you are holding. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, plant that declaration today. And, as you do, bring with you the specific thing you are trusting God to turn around. Not a list, just the one thing. The thing you think about most. Plant that alongside your seed and watch heaven move on both. There is a shift happening inside your mind already. You are beginning to recognize that fear no longer controls you the way it once did. The version of you that constantly expected rejection is slowly disappearing. I am replacing insecurity with confidence and confusion with discernment. You are becoming stronger spiritually because your next season requires boldness and wisdom together. The knock coming to your door will not simply change one moment. It will begin changing the direction of your entire future. Some opportunities only appear once, which is why I keep urging you to remain spiritually awake. Do not allow discouragement to blind you when the answer finally arrives. Do not push away what I send simply because it looks different from what you expected. I often answer prayers in forms that surprise people completely. That quiet endurance has not gone unnoticed in heaven. And the knock approaching your door is connected to the faith you continued holding on to during your hardest moments. You thought certain seasons would destroy you completely. You wondered how much more pain one heart could carry without giving up entirely. Yet every time darkness tried to pull you under, I breathed strength into your spirit again. You survived situations that should have crushed your peace permanently. You overcame nights filled with fear, confusion, and loneliness. And even though you felt weak, my hand continued protecting your life through every storm. There are blessings coming that will make your previous suffering easier to understand. I am not saying every painful memory will disappear overnight, but clarity is coming. You will begin seeing how certain hardships redirected you away from danger. You will recognize how closed doors protected you from environments that would have damaged your future. The disappointment that once made you cry will eventually become proof that I was guiding your steps with wisdom greater than your understanding. Some of you listening to these words have almost stopped expecting good things entirely. Your spirit became weary after too many delays and too many heartbreaks. You watched other people move forward while your own life felt stuck in the same painful cycle. Comparison slowly drained your confidence until you started wondering whether blessings were reserved for everyone except you. But I need you to hear me clearly now. Your story is not behind schedule. Leave a comment telling me one thing you are choosing to trust God with today, even when the answer has not come yet. The knock coming to your door will arrive with unexpected peace attached to it. One of the clearest signs that something has been sent by me is the calm it brings into your spirit. Confusion and chaos often follow things rooted in fear, but my guidance carries clarity and direction. You have spent enough years battling emotional storms inside your mind. I am now leading you towards stability, healing, and rest. The future I prepared for you is not built on constant anxiety and fear. My child, stop believing the lie that you are too broken to be used for something meaningful. Pain may have left scars on your heart, But scars do not remove purpose from a life chosen by me. Some of the strongest people I use are those who survive deep suffering without losing their compassion completely. Your experiences have created wisdom inside you that cannot be learned from comfort alone. One day your testimony will strengthen people who currently feel hopeless and abandoned. I know you still carry questions that remain unanswered. You still wonder why certain prayers took so long. You still think about opportunities that disappeared unexpectedly. You still replay moments where people betrayed your trust and left wounds that never fully healed. But understand this truth. Not every loss was punishment. Some losses were preparation for greater alignment. I removed certain things because they were connected to limitation instead of destiny. The surprise at your door is also connected to restoration of confidence. The enemy worked hard to convince you that failure defined your identity. Every setback whispered lies into your mind until you began doubting your own abilities. You became afraid to dream boldly because disappointment trained your heart to expect rejection. But I am rebuilding your confidence little by little. The opportunity approaching your life will remind you that your future is still full of possibility. There are moments when I intentionally delay answers because immediate blessings can become dangerous in immature seasons. Earlier versions of you would not have handled this next chapter wisely. You were still attached to people who would have misused access to your future. You were still seeking validation from individuals who never truly valued your spirit. I needed to separate you from unhealthy patterns before opening the next door. What felt like waiting was actually spiritual preparation. Drop a comment and tell me in your own words what this message is stirring in your spirit right now. My child, I also want you to stop blaming yourself for every painful thing that happened in your life. Not every betrayal occurred because you were foolish. Not every rejection happened because you lacked value. Sometimes people walk away simply because they cannot understand the assignment attached to your life. Some individuals become uncomfortable around chosen people because the light within them exposes darkness they try to hide. Do not allow other people's inability to appreciate you to distort how you see yourself. The knock coming to your door may also challenge your comfort zone. I may lead you toward places, relationships, or responsibilities that feel unfamiliar at first. Fear will try to convince you to remain where everything feels predictable and safe. But staying trapped in old environments can delay the growth you prayed for. Trust me enough to follow where peace and wisdom guide you. I know how badly you want certainty before taking steps forward. You want every detail explained before trusting the process completely. But faith does not grow through full visibility. Faith grows when you continue walking even while answers remain incomplete. The disciples trusted my voice before they understood the full journey ahead of them. In the same way, I am teaching you to move with trust rather than fear. There is someone listening right now who feels emotionally exhausted from carrying everyone else's burdens. You became the strong one for others while neglecting the condition of your own heart. People leaned on your kindness without realizing how drained you secretly felt inside. Yet, even in your exhaustion, you continued showing compassion and love. I saw those sacrifices, and I am preparing moments of refreshing for your soul. You will not always live in survival mode. The surprise at your door is not random luck. It is connected to prayers, obedience, and divine timing. Human beings may call it coincidence, but heaven calls it fulfillment. I have already spoken over your future, and no obstacle can permanently block what I have declared for your life. Delays may happen, opposition may appear, temporary setbacks may test your patience. But what I ordain cannot be destroyed by human resistance. Some people around you will become shocked by the transformation taking place in your life. They became accustomed to seeing you struggle. They assumed weakness would define your future forever. But I am capable of lifting someone from despair into peace faster than human understanding can explain. The same people who overlooked you will eventually witness evidence of my favor resting over your life. Stay humble during that season. and remember who carried you through the hardest nights. My child, do not become distracted by temporary discouragement right before your breakthrough arrives. The enemy often increases confusion when blessings draw near. Negative thoughts may suddenly grow louder. Old fears may try returning again. Unexpected challenges may appear and test your focus. But these things are not signs that I abandoned you. They are reminders that spiritual opposition recognizes change approaching your life. I need you to remain spiritually awake now more than ever before. Protect your peace carefully. Guard your heart from bitterness and unnecessary negativity. Not every voice deserves influence over your mind during this season. Some people speak from fear instead of wisdom. Others project their own insecurities onto your future because they cannot imagine greater things for themselves. Listen more closely to my direction than to human doubt. I have not brought you this far to leave you standing outside the door of your breakthrough. The knock that is coming will remind you that heaven still moves in ways human understanding cannot fully explain. I know the pain you carried after trusting people who later betrayed you. I know how deeply rejection affected your confidence, especially when it came from people you loved sincerely. You gave your loyalty freely, and in return, some people left wounds that changed how you viewed relationships forever. Because of that pain, your heart became guarded and fearful of disappointment repeating itself again. But I am healing those hidden wounds slowly, and the blessing approaching your life will not carry the same spirit of destruction that hurt you before. There is a reason I kept certain opportunities away from you until now. Some things looked beautiful on the outside, while carrying danger underneath. If I had allowed certain doors to open earlier, they would have distracted you from the assignment connected to your life. You cried over missed opportunities without realizing they were actually escapes from future regret. One day you will thank me for the prayers I answered differently than you expected. My protection often arrives disguised as delay and redirection. The surprise at your door will shift how you see yourself. For too long, you allowed your mistakes and struggles to define your identity. You focused more on what went wrong than on the strength it took for you to survive. Difficult seasons, you forgot that endurance itself is proof of resilience. You forgot that surviving pain without losing your humanity is a powerful victory. I am now teaching you to see yourself through my eyes instead of through the criticism and rejection you experienced from the world. Leave a comment declaring the miracle you are claiming in this season. Speak it out and let faith rise. My child, there are people secretly watching your life who cannot understand how you continue standing after everything you endured. They expected bitterness to consume you completely. They assumed hardship would eventually destroy your peace and faith. Yet every challenge only pushed you closer toward me instead of farther away. That spiritual strength did not come from human ability alone. It came from my hand covering your life through battles nobody else fully understood. The knock that is coming is connected to divine restoration. I am restoring peace where anxiety once ruled your thoughts. I am restoring confidence where insecurity once weakened your spirit. I am restoring joy in places where grief tried to make a permanent home inside your heart. Healing may not always happen instantly, but every step forward matters deeply. Even now, your spirit is becoming stronger than it was during previous seasons of pain. My child, your story was never meant to end with you. The healing happening inside you right now, the shift in your spirit, the restoration taking place in places you had stopped praying about it, carries a purpose beyond your own life. There is someone whose faith will not survive this week without a word that speaks directly to their silence. Not a general word, the specific word you heard in this message, the one that broke something loose inside you. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, send it forward. A seed here becomes that word. It becomes the voice that finds them before they make a decision they cannot undo. You will not see their face. You will not know their name. But heaven will record that your faithfulness kept someone else's story alive. That is not charity, that is legacy. And it is the kind of obedience that heaven honors with open doors. There were times when you felt forgotten because everyone around you seemed to move ahead while your own life remained stuck. You watched others celebrate victories while you quietly struggled to survive emotionally. Comparison became a heavy burden inside your heart. You questioned whether your prayers mattered because visible change seemed delayed for so long. But your journey was never meant to look identical to everyone else's path. I prepared a unique purpose for your life, and that purpose requires a different kind of preparation. Some people receive blessings quickly because their assignment is smaller. Others walk through longer seasons of preparation because their future carries greater influence and responsibility. I know the waiting exhausted you, but the waiting also matured your spirit. It taught you patience, wisdom, and discernment. Those painful lessons are now becoming part of the foundation for the future I am leading you toward. Type 333 if you believe God is making a way. The surprise at your door may arrive unexpectedly, but it has been planned by heaven long before you recognized it approaching. I have already spoken to hearts concerning your future. I have already aligned circumstances behind the scenes. What appears sudden to you has actually been developing quietly through divine timing. This is why I keep urging you not to lose faith during seasons where nothing visible seems to happen. Invisible preparation often comes before visible breakthrough. My child, stop apologizing for outgrowing environments that constantly drained your peace. Some places were only temporary chapters, not permanent homes for your destiny. Certain people became comfortable with the old version of you because it made them feel secure. But growth changes perspectives, priorities, and boundaries. You are not wrong for protecting your peace more carefully now. You are not selfish for refusing to stay trapped in cycles that damage your emotional and spiritual health. The enemy worked hard to convince you that your best days were already behind you. Disappointment after disappointment made it difficult for you to imagine a future filled with joy again. You became so accustomed to survival that true peace felt unrealistic. But I am leading you into a season where your spirit will finally breathe without constant fear and heaviness. The weight you carried for years will not remain on your shoulders forever. I know some mornings still begin with anxiety before your day even fully starts. Your mind races through worries about finances, relationships, responsibilities, and unanswered questions. Sometimes fear whispers that nothing will ever truly improve. But fear is not the author of your future. I am, and the plans I carry for your life are greater than the darkness currently trying to discourage your heart. The knock coming to your door will also expose hidden favor resting over your life. There were moments when rejection seemed stronger than blessing. Yet even in rejection, I was redirecting you toward places where your gifts would finally be valued correctly. Some people overlooked you because they lacked the wisdom to recognize what I placed inside you. Their inability to appreciate you never changed your worth in my eyes. My child, I need you to remain humble during the elevation that is approaching. The blessing coming into your life is not permission to forget the painful seasons that shaped your compassion. Never become the kind of person who looks down on others still struggling. Remember the nights when you cried for help. Remember the moments when encouragement from one person kept you from giving up entirely. Use your future influence to lift broken people instead of ignoring them. There are also relationships I am preparing for your future that will not drain your spirit the way previous connections did. You became used to one-sided loyalty and emotionally exhausting situations, but healthy connections bring peace instead of confusion. They encourage growth instead of insecurity. They create safety instead of fear. I am teaching you that love and peace are not opposites of strength. They are the reward of someone who survived long enough to stop settling for less than what heaven prepared. My child, the knock at your door is closer than it has ever been. Everything I have spoken over your life in this moment was not coincidence. You were guided here because I needed your spirit to receive confirmation before the arrival. I needed you to know that what is coming was always planned, always protected, and always pointed directly toward you. You have carried enough. You have waited long enough. You have survived more than people around you will ever fully understand. And now I am telling you with certainty that the season of endurance is giving way to the season of evidence. The tears that fell in private will become testimonies spoken in public. The prayers that felt unanswered will become proof that heaven moves in ways that human timing cannot contain. Do not be afraid when the knock arrives. Do not second-guess what I send simply because it looks different from what you imagined. I know the version you pictured, but what I am bringing carries more depth, more peace, and more permanence than what your wounded mind was capable of asking for during your hardest seasons. I answer prayers according to your need, not only according to your request. My child, the door is about to open. Stand ready, stand expectant, and above all, stand in the knowledge that you were never forgotten, never overlooked, and never outside the reach of my love. What is coming to your door carries my signature on it, and no force on this earth has the power to redirect what heaven has already sealed over your life. The knock is coming, and when it arrives, you will finally understand why everything else had to happen first. Leave a comment right now with the word ready. One word. Let heaven and everyone reading beside you know that you are no longer waiting in fear. You are waiting in faith. That shift alone changes everything. If this message found you at the right moment, I want to ask you to do one thing before you move on. Share this with someone who is still in the silence, someone who has been crying prayers into darkness and wondering whether heaven is listening. You do not need to explain it or write a message alongside it. Simply send it. Let the message speak for itself. Being the reason someone holds on one more day is not a small thing. In heaven's eyes, that act of obedience carries more weight than you realize. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, do it now and turn on notifications. The next message in this series speaks directly to what happens after the knock, arrives how to recognize what heaven sends when it looks nothing like what you expected, and how to open the door without fear overriding your discernment. If you are standing at the edge of your breakthrough, that message is your next instruction. Stay expectant, stay aligned, and never stop believing that the God who brought you through every storm you survived is the same God who is standing at the door of your next season. Preparing to knock, stay blessed, always.